Welcome to The Chatter, your end of the week ear candy for what to eat, drink, see, and do in Richmond, Virginia, right damn now.
The Richmond experience is independently owned and created by locals, us, for locals, you. From recent openings and the latest trends to time tested traditions and hidden gems, we're here to help you experience the very best that RVA has to offer.
Hi, I'm Paige, LVX owner and chief marketing officer. I'm the face you see in front of the scenes on Instagram and TikTok, taking you to all the latest and greatest hotspots around town.
And I'm Kelsey, RVAX owner and editor in chief, working behind the scenes on your Wednesday and Thursday newsletters, the Weekly Insider and the Weekender, and City Guides.
I'm so excited, Kelsey.
I'm excited too, Paige. We have another guest joining us for our episode today, Melissa Wirt. She is a mom of 6 under 13 and the founder and owner of Latched Mama, which you have likely heard of in the Richmond area. It's a family-focused workplace and e-commerce company in Midlow. Her latest project is her book, I Was Told There'd Be a Village, due out April 8th, which describes how Melissa began making small changes to seek out connection in motherhood. In it, she also talked to mothers from across the country and soon saw that the beliefs keeping each of us parenting solo were also keeping us from accessing our most powerful resource, each other. The stories she uncovered, combined with her own, gave rise to a strategy for slowly building back community. And we're very excited to hear more about that. Melissa, welcome. Congratulations.
Thanks. It sounded a lot more like professional than the book actually reads, but thank you for that intro.
It was just my script reading, but it seems like it is very talking to your girlfriend type style.
Yeah, absolutely. That was fantastic. Yeah, I'm so happy to be here. Richmond I was raised in Midlothian, and it's been so nice to build a business here. And, I'm so thankful for the community and all the support it's given us as a brand. So.
Yes, fantastic. We were saying right before we hit record that I knew of Latched Mama through your clothing offerings for breastfeeding moms, and then also found out about what I consider a hidden gem over at the Diamond, your nursing room for nursing moms. So you're doing the most for the community out here.
Absolutely. It's a little secret hidden gem. It's the best bathroom at the Diamond by far.
Truly nice and relaxing, nice and quiet. Somebody at a game leaned over to me when I was trying to do all the techniques you try to do when you're nursing in a public place, and was like, there's like a nice little room if you wanted to actually be relaxed. And I was like, the hottest tip I've gotten in recent memory.
Yeah, no, it's a great little place. And even if you're not a nursing mom, just go pretend like you are. It's wonderful. Well, I guess, yeah, I mean, hopefully there'll be one in the new stadium as well. So
yes, that's so exciting. Well, tell us more about this new project, your book.
Yeah. So we have the brand Latched Mama, which is out here in Midlothian, Virginia. And we have a really cool kind of family focused workplace. We allow mothers and fathers to bring their babies to work. We have a lot of progressive leave policies. And in the process of kind of like building the brand, we also built a pretty large online community. And year after year and post after post and all of the moderations we do as a team, I was realizing that mothers were not quite okay. Like we were struggling for connection. We weren't always nice to one another. And myself, as I was raising my kids, I was surrounded by all of these people all the time, hundreds of thousands of people on the internet that I talked to every day. And I still was kind of lonely myself. So the book basically talks about how motherhood's a second adolescence and how do we figure out who we are on the other side of it? And then how do we find those connections, hopefully outside of the computer and outside of social media, to really bring us together and find like kind of the support and the encouragement that we need.
Oh, amazing. I was, Paige, of course, knows this. I'm a mom of 2, and I'm always saying to Paige, like in these last couple of years, like still very much finding my footing in this role in my life. And my oldest is 4. So, and it does feel like there would be a lot of community around it because so many people are moms, but it can be very isolating. So it's such a wonderful thing to sort of highlight.
Yeah. I mean, for me, it was really hard. Like I thought that I would just be able to show up at like mommy and me groups and I would find my people and it would just be this super, super easy thing. And it was absolutely not. I think that we are new people after you have a baby. I mean, I think that you come back to yourself eventually or whatever, but, I think it's a seismic shift in kind of what we believe and who we are and our friendships and where we can go and those things we can experience. And I think, it's a journey kind of finding, what's important to you again and how to make those connections. But what's really interesting, and I learned a lot in the book, was the idea that, isolation can actually cause a lot of the things that we see as burnout in like life. So you hear like a lot of statements about mom rage or burnout or all of these things. And we, isolation and loneliness can cause, high blood pressure and weight gain and restless sleep and all of the things that we sometimes think are just part of motherhood when it actually is the fact that we don't have really good connection.
Do you think it's the different parenting styles that might contribute to the loneliness? Because I know some people, like I do not have children, but I have lots of good girlfriends that have babies. And I know some parents don't allow any screens at all. And I know some that do. And do you think like sometimes it's hard to make friends just because of the different, how you raise your children?
Yeah. So, I mean, I think that there's a lot of judgment in motherhood, and I think it comes from each other, but I also think it's self-judgment. I make the comment that I make probably 20 mistakes by the time my feet hit the bedroom floor in the morning and I make it to the coffee maker. So I think a lot of the growth that happens when somebody becomes a mom is realizing that there's absolutely no way to do it correctly. So I can look at somebody who gives their kid a screen at a restaurant where I'm going to try to maybe color with mine or something. And I can say, you know what, it's all hard. And she's making that decision because it's the best decision for her family. That doesn't mean I can't be her friend. That doesn't mean we can't find something to connect over. So we talk about in the book how at the very lowest part, like, so you can peel back the onion. So let's say somebody is vegan and, you raise cows or something like that. And you just keep peeling back the onion until you get to the point where you both love something that's outside of your body in this like really dramatic way. Like you can always find a way to connect with another mother. And I think that that's what we need to remember as moms. So
I think that's just a good life lesson in general.
100%.
Absolutely.
I was thinking as you were saying that too, where I feel like becoming a mom, like even with all of my friends who I had before, like I became a mom, I'm still friends with them. They've all become parents, or most of them have become parents. And you are also like learning new ways of their personalities and parenting too with that. So that's a great question, Paige, about like the different parenting styles. Like you're trying to find new things in common because this parenting thread that you already have in common is you're doing it differently. So
yeah,
great.
And I think that you have to work through like the self-doubt, I think. And I think that that's the hard part is like, so let's say you are one that turns towards screens and somebody else doesn't. Like, what is happening inside of you when you start to feel like maybe you're not good enough to be their friend or something like that? Like you have to be really confident in the decisions that you're making, or just have to get to the point that we're all doing the best that we can. And I think that that's kind of sometimes what keeps us in our houses and not interacting with other moms or really trying to find that common denominator is just the idea that, we're judging ourselves or thinking that we're doing it wrong.
For sure. So was there a particular story that when you were speaking to all the different mothers or a particular few that stood out to you?
Yeah, I love this really. There was a story that I just keep coming back to. And every time that I go back and I reread the book, I just think it's going to resonate with a lot of moms. It was a story about a mom who had worked in an office and then they decided as a family, her kids were like 3 and 5, for her to start working from home. And she thought she was going to be able to stay in touch with people she worked with. And she thought it was going to be fine. And she was just going to transfer right over to having like friends at preschool and, all of the different things. And she was going to meet people at drop off. And she realized as she started to try to enter into this other world, it was almost like these other moms had this like secret club and she couldn't figure out how to fit in and she didn't know what to say to them and all of this stuff. And slowly, as the days and the weeks went on, that she interacted with less and less people, she stopped going to the coffee shop to get her a coffee. She started ordering, from Panera for lunch. And then she realized she wasn't sleeping well and she didn't know what was wrong with her. And she went to the doctor and she was like, I hope he can give me some answers. And he, went through like the whole checklist, checked all of her vitals, and then jokingly was like, hey, do you have any suicidal thoughts? And then she was like, just kind of looked back at him and he said, absolutely not, and checked the box. And he's like, thank you for, filling out our survey. And then she was driving home and she was like, I don't understand why he couldn't pick up on the fact that I was depressed and I was sad and like all of these things that I'm feeling, like, why couldn't he see them in me? And she realized that she just had this like perma smile on her face. She had the mom, we get shit done, attitude when she went in there. And she realized that nobody was really going to help her but herself. And she started reaching out and stuff. But it's like that idea that sometimes we don't feel well and we don't know what's wrong and we don't really know how to ask for help because asking for help would be a sign of failure. So we just smile, and we do it all and we just keep moving forward.
Yeah, I feel like women in general tend to sort of
Absolutely.
like take that on where it's like or I'll speak for myself, just trying to be like, no, like everything's fine. It's like everything is not fine. So you should just say so.
Yeah. And I love
Absolutely.
the idea that when we actually help someone else, we actually feel better ourselves.
Mhm.
So if you can like kind of do the Jedi mind trick, and I think that this is really true for women everywhere, is that when you actually let somebody help you, you're actually helping them, which is like this wonderful way of looking at it where all of us are bad at asking for help. We talk about the book, The Giving Tree, in the book about how at the end the tree dies. The tree gives everything he can to this little boy. And at the end, the tree's dead. And it's like, we don't want to be the giving tree. We want to be able to ask for help. And I think when you think about the fact that when we ask for help, we're actually helping the other person feel better about themselves, the person who actually helps us, sometimes it allows us to ask for more help.
Were there any like parts of your strategy that you like developed through research for this book that you can share with us? Or is it sort of the kind of thing where you need to kind of like read the book cover to cover to sort of get the whole
Yeah.
scoop?
I really wanted it to be not a cover to cover reading book at all. I want it to be on night side tables. And I want, even if nobody decides to do any of the prescriptive stuff in the book, if they just feel connected to me in it, because I included enough of my stories in there and stuff too. But what really is wild to me that I picked up through all of the research is that, okay, we biologically need connection. Okay. So like when I hear the word connection, I think, oh my gosh, it's like Brene Brown, vulnerable crap. You've got to go like talk about your birth story to people and talk about, your childhood traumas. But it actually isn't that. I mean, that's great. And that gives us like that deep connection, like that, see somebody through a storm connection. But you can get that same fix through like holding a door for somebody and making eye contact, or telling somebody that you like their hair, or interacting with the barista at Starbucks instead of standing in your car. And those little tiny moments throughout the day can actually give you energy and optimism and all of these things, that these really, really deep connections that some of us maybe immediately after we have babies or even just years later don't really feel like we have the energy for. They actually prime you and give you energy back and fill your cup and allow you to maybe lean into those other relationships and build some of the deeper ones. So those little moments of connection. And we talk about in the book how we've come so far as a society in the sense that we're so isolated from one another. Like we'll, look on Yelp instead of asking a friend where they went, where they should go for dinner, or order everything online, or we order our groceries and all of these things. So maybe like choosing to go to the grocery store one day a week and seeing what happens on the other side, and just kind of putting yourself in situations where you do have to interact with other humans.
I think that this is totally just affects everybody, not just, moms. And that I think it all kind of goes back to just being present in the moment too. Just like instead of thinking about your to-do list, because you're a mom, you got a million things to do, or just sitting in or going to the store and being present and walking around and saying hello. I mean, it does take energy, but the energy you give out is the energy you get back. So.
Absolutely.
Definitely. And it is interesting, like the more that technology advances us, this is sort of like a general observation I feel like people are making, but it's like you are so connected by internet to so many things now, which like in turn does seem to be cutting off any actual like human connection. So it is like, it's like the pendulum is swinging back where it's like people are trying to get away from like the screen interactions and actually like be back face to face with people. I think like COVID really like obviously did some damage with that. And then, it kind of just went from there. But it bleeds into both. I feel like your life, anybody's life in general. And then, when you're going through as a new mom, this is a brand new like experience. So it can be very overwhelming for some people or for everybody. And it sometimes feels like natural to just sort of like cut yourself off. But like just to take like these tiny steps, I feel like is a very helpful tip.
Yeah, and it's really interesting. I mean, it's the Surgeon General's like mission to end loneliness. He says that it's the same as like smoking like 11 cigarettes a day or something. It's wild. It is. I had no idea the biological impact it actually has on like all of our nervous systems. We talk a little bit about it in the book, but like loneliness in general is like your body goes into the fight or flight response, and chronic loneliness, you basically stay there, which is of course not good for you. So that's why little tiny little steps of being able to make eye contact or say hello to somebody can help.
For sure.
It's an epidemic.
It is.
Something to definitely take baby steps to work on for sure, to better yourself and better your community.
Yeah. And I mean, all of your work you guys do, you get people out of their houses, which I think is fantastic, you know?
That's the hope.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Just encourage people, like, you know, Paige, of course, like is like front facing for like our biggest audience. And it's like hoping to encourage people to like reach out to your communities.
Yep.
Use this as like a conversation starter and get your friends out there.
I love it.
Amazing. Well, do we have any other updates outside of the book that we wanted to talk about before we dive into your other like eat, drink, and so on Rex, Melissa?
You know, for any new author, I'm just going to plug it. Pre-orders are absolutely key.
Yes.
It allows it to get in store shelves and in Target and all of those places that not all new authors get. I hit the lottery in the fact that it's with a major publisher, which is phenomenal for me and women and moms everywhere. But you can pre-order it on Amazon. You can pre-order it from our website. But I would absolutely love that. There's a Kindle and audio version. I get to record it in a couple of weeks, which is going to be a whole new experience.
Oh yeah, that's exciting.
Yeah, it's like a whole week long. It's like 8 hours a day for like 5 days, which is going to be
From
wild.
what I've heard, it's like can be kind of like an intense process.
Yeah, I know. They were like, "Are you sure you want to do it?" They asked me like 5 times, and I was like, "I think so." But by the 5th time, I was like, "Maybe they want me to say no."
I'm glad we're doing it.
Yeah. So I'm gonna check it off my my list.
And yeah, I agree with you, Paige. I like when the author, like herself, is like behind the narration too.
Yeah.
But then I've got to like double, like, I'm sure I'm going to get to a word and I'm like, ooh, I wish I hadn't used that word, but it's in print now. So it has to be that word.
I heard they'll give you like a sheet of the commonly mispronounced words so you can practice.
Yeah, exactly. We'll see. So it should be fun. But yeah, pre-orders would be wonderful. And I can't wait to celebrate it with all of Richmond when it comes out in April. I'm sure there'll be some local events.
Yeah,
Awesome.
that's
Yeah,
so
keep us
exciting. And
updated.
you said you could pre-order on your website, latchedmama.com, and then
or Amazon or Target or Walmart or bookshop.org supports smaller bookstores as well. So.
Awesome. And then people can also follow along with you at the Latched Mama on Instagram as well.
Are you ready to dive in?
I'm ready to dive in. We've got this first ad break that I'll kick us off with. This episode of The Chatter is powered by Lindsay Martin Photography. Lindsay Martin is hosting her headshot marathon at Contrast Studios on Thursday, January 23rd. These 15-minute sessions are a great way to update branding content for your business or your personal headshots or both. Lindsay will also have a makeup professional on site if you'd like some assistance before your close-up. You can sign up for your slot at the link in our show notes and visit lindsaymartinphotography.com or at Lindsay Martin Photo on Instagram for a better look at Lindsay's portfolio and her services. FYI, she does do these headshot sessions outside of this marathon if January 23rd doesn't work for you. And I, of course, can't say enough good things about Lindsay Martin Photography. I've used her for multiple family photo sessions after I've had each of my kiddos, and the photos always come out beautifully. She's so easy to work with. Her whole team is so easy to coordinate with. So I highly recommend her for any of her photography needs.
She did my headshots for the book.
Oh my gosh. All right.
Yeah, we love Lindsay. Lindsay's one of our lifestyle photographers here at Latched Mama. And then, yeah, just flip over the book. There are Lindsay's shots right there.
We didn't even coordinate that.
Yeah, we didn't coordinate it at all. Nope.
Works out perfectly. I'm so excited. Absolutely. Didn't even plan that. Now you've got multiple recommendations.
And I can tell you, it took me 10 years in a multi-million-dollar business to go get professional headshots. And I only did it because Lindsay made me feel so comfortable. So do it.
Beautiful work. It is one of those things when we've gotten them in the past where it's like, wow, why wasn't I doing this sooner? Everything looks so much fresher when you have like a full, a professional's eyes on it.
She's fantastic. So.
Amazing. Oh gosh, we're so happy about that. Yeah, go find Lindsay Martin Photography. Get to your headshots.
Absolutely.
All right, we're going to kick it off with what to eat, drink, see, and do in RVA with some recommendations. What do you have for us to eat this week?
So we don't get out much. We have 6 young children and it's cold out, and I don't do cold well. But some of our favorite family friendly places to go when we do go out, because dates don't really exist either in my life right now. We love Joe's Inn. We love, I don't know if they actually call it this or if just my father-in-law does, but the Godfather table, right when you walk into the left-hand side. I don't know if that's a Joe's Inn thing or if that's like just our family thing, but there's a really, really long table and we love to gather as a family there. Toast in Midlothian does kids eat free on Wednesdays, I believe.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And then for those of you who live out near me on 360 out in Chesterfield, Midlothian, wherever I live, Mr. Pepe's, and don't laugh because I know you guys do like really nice restaurants on the show, but Mr. Pepe's, love them. They have a family meal that is not on the menu. You can get fajitas or tacos and it's like literally like $45 and it feeds like my entire family and it's amazing. So you just have to ask them for it.
Oh, those are the hot tips we'd eat.
Yeah,
I
those
know.
yeah. I mean, trust me, we love to, do whatever. We go with the flow here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love toast. So there are 3 locations. We have one in Scott's Addition, one in the Village, and then you're talking about the one at Winterfield Place.
Yep.
Yeah. So kids eat free on Wednesday there. I'm a big fan of their meatloaf and their Cuban Reuben and Parmesan truffle fries.
Yeah.
Love toast.
Yeah. Ooh, that all sounds good. Okay, toast stands out as a Paige favorite in my mind.
Yeah. And Joe's, I mean, who doesn't love Joe's Inn?
Yeah, truly.
I don't know if this is a chain or not, but did you know a Roots just opened at Winterfield too?
I did. Yeah, we often work with them. I think they're a franchise. So.
But yeah, sorry if they're too big. But like they're great. Love them.
Yeah, I was just writing up insider updates for this week, and they are opened a new location. They're Charlottesville based too, and created by like UVA grads. So I consider them coverage for us.
Love them.
Yeah.
Love them.
All good, Rex. And yeah, Joe's Inn, we just had a writer do a roundup of like iconic dishes in the city, and Joe's Inn spaghetti, of course, like made the cut, and I've been craving it ever since I had to edit it. So all perfect recommendations.
Their meatballs and then a mini Greek salad. That's all I need in life.
I know that. See, and I love the summer for their country Greek salads. It's like all I eat in the summer.
Very good.
Oh.
Of course. We can talk about it all day. We'll move you on to drink. How about for drink, Melissa? What is your recommendation?
Yeah, so there's a new brewery that opened out in Moseley. It's actually worth the hike if you want to get out of the city, and it's beautiful. It's kind of in the middle of nowhere, but if you go out maybe to visit the zoo with your family, it's right past the Richmond Metro Zoo, and it's called Hidden Wit. It has probably the best brewery food I've ever had. It does come with a price tag. It's a little bit more expensive than you're going to find other places, but it has a full menu. And they are introducing a burger night on Thursday nights, which is a burger and fries for $10. And their burgers are big enough to split between 2 kids as well.
Oh, nice.
They have an amazing strawberry blonde ale. It's called the Inner Vixen, probably the best brewery beer that I've had in Richmond as well. So I'm going to go that way.
Wow.
I know, right? I do love them. They have an amazing outside area, rain or shine. The kids can go out and play soccer and play around and stuff. And it's really great.
That's always nice when you can have bring the family and you don't feel like it's going to be too stuffy or anything like that. That strawberry blonde was one that I zeroed in on when I was looking at the menu, and it looks like the We Should Open a Brewery Irish style could be good for this time of year too. Do you have a favorite menu item you like when you go over there?
They have a revolving chicken sandwich. So they had a Thai one, and now they have a hot Nashville one or whatever. It's just delicious. It's you can tell that everything is handmade, and it's really, really good. And I'd like to see them stay open. So please take a hike out to Moseley, guys.
Yeah, get out there. They also have cocktails and wine, because Paige and I, of course, often talk about how that's another one of our favorite features of breweries, that they kind of hit all the different drink offerings. Paige, have you been out there?
I have not, but I definitely need to add it to the list. So.
Yeah.
Seems
and
really
then right next to Hidden Wit, as you're coming back towards away from Amelia and towards Richmond, there's a little place called Skin Quarter Market, which has groceries and stuff. But it also has, during the spring and summer, it has a stand called Jimmers, which is homemade custard ice cream. which if you can't make it from Hidden Wit all the way to Klein's, which is further down, it's Jimmers is an amazing option. It's owned by a veteran, an older man. He's great. And it's a really good dessert option as you head back.
Well, Kelsey loves her Kleins.
Oh my gosh, as soon as you mentioned, I was just thinking about Klein's recently. Like, I gotta get back out to, I'm due for Klein's.
We love having that there. We have like Jimmers, Klein's, and a Gelati Celesti, whatever. I never call it this right name, like within like 3 miles of one another. So it's tough. It's tough out where I live.
Right. You're roughing it out there, man. Oh man, all good recommendations though. Delish.
All right, and so next for C, Melissa.
So I'm gonna pick a little crunchy spot, but I feel like we have some amazing state parks. And I love Pocahontas, which is something that like I never went to as a kid, even though I grew up out in Midlothian. But we live pretty close to it now, and there's a giant dam that I had no idea about. And my kids love to walk and look at the dam. And play around in the water when it's warm enough. But even in the wintertime, it's a really, really nice, beautiful place to go explore and let the kids run around.
Yeah, we've shared a little bit about it, but it's a place that I probably need to go more. They have over 90 miles of trails. I did a little research, and they have 5.5 miles of hiking only trails. They have 33 miles of multi-use trails. They have 25 miles of bike trails. So I definitely need to get over there and get hiking. But it's only about 20 minutes from downtown Richmond. So lots of outdoor activities. Great for this time of year to explore.
Yeah, for sure. Really expansive over there.
Yeah, and they have like a junior rangers program, and even those like mornings. I'm sure there are moms out there that are like, oh, I'd rather just sit and watch TV. But if you get your kids out of your house, the whole day is going to feel like better, and you can get moving. They have some really great learning opportunities. I think, especially on the weekends, different like nature opportunities that are actually guided by people who know what they're doing, which is great. So,
okay, that's good to know too. Melissa, these are professional recommendations.
Yeah.
Got to survive motherhood somehow.
I know, you've got all the tips. Okay, well, we'll wrap up then for what's your recommendation for Do?
Okay, this is like one of my, I think, hidden gems in Richmond. There is a place it's right off of Powhite in 288, right at the top of Brandermill. It's called the Art Factory and Party Place. It's one of my favorite pandemic pivot stories ever. It's owned by a woman named Tal, and she had a small little storefront in Market Square where she just like hosted parties. And then right when the pandemic hit, she was expanding to a larger section in the same mall. And she was unfortunately doing food stuff at that point. And it was very, very hard for her to stay open in terms of the way that the business was structured with the current laws. So I'm going to tell the story because I just think it's beautiful. Right next door to her in the same little strip mall was an e-commerce store that sold balloons. Okay. So like basically the East Coast distributor of all of the balloons in like grocery stores and stuff is from here in Midlothian, Virginia, which is a little trivia fact there. So she didn't know how she was going to stay in business. So she started basically getting the samples. The woman next door who owned the e-com thing kept dropping off the samples of the balloons, and she started selling the helium-filled balloons to the community for like birthdays because everybody was stuck at home. Anyways, long story short, she continued to pivot, and she has built the most gorgeous place now. It is like a giant coffee shop / boutique / walk-in art like thing. You can go paint pottery, you can paint canvas, you can do whatever. There's also an indoor gym for the kids to play in throughout the day. It is the perfect thing for this weather in this cold time. Like you literally can walk in and you feel cozy, and you can get real coffee and real lattes, amazing food. The kids can play in the indoor gym. You can paint some pottery. Like immediately your nervous system just goes like straight down when you get in there. And it's amazing. I think what she's created is awesome.
Yeah, it looks super cute. That was actually another thing that we had a couple of new city guides come out last week, and one included this place for like great coffee spots and play areas for parents and their kiddos to go to. And this is another like hidden gem thing that I hadn't heard of before. Paige, had you heard of this?
No, but I did want to mention we got a DM about this. Ellie had reached out and said that the Art Factory is the GOAT. I worked there for 3 years. It's woman and immigrant owned community based shop, and we should consider doing a feature on the owner. So somebody highly recommends them as well.
She's incredible. Her story is, she's from Israel. Her story is incredible. I guess you get chosen if you get to go to high school or past that, and where she's from. And then she came here and she has 2 kids, and she's just a gift. She hires 14, 15, 16-year-olds. She's just amazing. And then the whole thing, the way it started is it's actually an e-com store as well. She owns a very large piece of like the makeup, like body paint industry. So that's what they fulfill out of the back of it. And it helps fund some of the stuff in the front. But in terms of just a really good place to spend your money, it's a little bit like, I remember when I was a stay-at-home mom before I started Latched Mama, I would go to Cartwheels and Coffee a lot.
Right.
Is that like, I think it's permanently closed now. I don't think it exists.
Right. And like Carytown, a girlfriend of mine was very bummed when that like went out of business. And that was one of the reasons why I was thinking this like type of guide would be good for people to sort of like scratch that itch.
And I remember that was like one of the first places that I ever went, and probably where I found connection, probably the most in those beginning years. This is like 7 times the size, feels very different, but at the same time, I think is a great resource for families, for anybody. They have an open mic night. They have an amazing selection of classes, Saturdays, Sundays, evenings, everything from seniors down to homeschooled kids to preschool. It's really great. And then Sergio's is like 3 doors down, which is just like a Southside staple. That's been there since I was like 5 years old, and owned by the same guy, Joe. He's amazing. Great pizza, amazing beer. Great place. So I'm telling you all the Southside tricks.
I know you're giving us all the
Love
great
it.
tips. Thank you so much. You're telling us at the beginning that you don't get out much. I mean, come on. You've got the recommendation.
Very, very small radius of like not having to go on the highway. It's like literally just, I'm giving you like the 360 corridor. So that's it.
Well, that was perfect.
Yeah, and thank you so much, Melissa, and good luck on your book launch. And we're so excited to watch this journey with you.
Thank you guys so much for your local support. You guys have no idea how much it means, and I can't wait to celebrate with Richmond when this comes out.
Yes, absolutely.
All right, that wraps us up. So thanks for listening, Richmond. And by the way, there's more where that came from. Joining the Richmond experience as a member is the best way to stay in the know about what's going on in RVA.
Not to worry, we refuse to sell your info or bombard you with ads, but we do charge a small annual membership fee of $39 a year to fund our team so we can keep doing this awesome work. Plus, a portion of each annual membership purchase for the Richmond experience goes to rotating nonprofits each month. That's like $1 per week to get an all-access pass to the best of RVA and lift up local orgs. It's a really, really good deal, friends. And listen, what are friends for anyway? Use code CHATTER to get $10 off your first year subscription.
Give us a follow on Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook at The Richmond Experience, and on Instagram at The Chatter and RVA too. And if you enjoyed this episode, send it to your buds, rate, review, and subscribe.
And if you want to keep up with each of us, you can find me at Kelsey Heinz is Typing on Instagram.
And me, Sips and Trips with Paige on Instagram.
Chat with you next week, RVA.